get started. Fasten your seatbelts and start your engines. It's time to burn a little rubber, trying to catch up with an intergenerational racing family as they enjoy a day at the track, driving autocross.
They gather on a foggy morning in the parking lot of Ripken Stadium in Aberdeen, Maryland. Just a bunch of regular folks who enjoy life in the fast lane, the autocrossers. Formerly known as auto slalom, autocross is organized by the Sports Car Club of America. According to the club, it attracts more participants than any other American motorsport, even drag racing.
I liken it to a ski slalom event, where it's a race against time, and you go through gates, just like skiers do. And the first one, the fastest one through the course, wins the event. We flatten it out and put it on asphalt, and that's basically what it is.
Some think that auto racing is strictly for the younger crowd, but senior drivers don't let age stop them from having a good time on the track.
I'm 82. We run in G-Stock, and the car number is my age. I sometimes think when I get to the starting line, what am I doing here? Once I get my foot on the throttle, then things change.
I can't ski and windsurf and all that like I used to, but I can still drive this car and have fun, and I think I can still get a lot better.
Frank Strayhorn began autocrossing after helping his son Lawrence with the hobby. Now, with 3 generations competing, autocrossing is a family event.
We were always frustrated auto racers, but our wives wouldn't let us race on a track with other cars. So autocrossing was the safe way out.
Bought an old GTI, and I said, well, we'll autocross it for a year, and then we'll build it up into a race car. He had so much fun, I could never turn it into a race car and take it away from him. So we just stayed autocrossing for 18 years.
For Frank's grandson, Justin, it is the family togetherness that's most important.
I just think it's amazing that 3 generations of family members can come out and compete all together during the day and spend the Saturday together and do something that we all enjoy.
Though the competition on the track may be fierce, among the Strayhorns, it's all in fun.
We rib each other about how we performed at a race. Like last time we raced, Lawrence had a bad toe, and he wasn't able to brake properly driving, and I ended up beating him. So we have some fun with that every once in a while.
I got to keep beating him whenever I come out. I have to make sure that I don't get beat by an 82-year-old man. That would be sort of embarrassing.
As the fog lifts, drivers walk the track, plotting their strategy for the day.
The main thing that I try to do in the first run is go as fast as I can, but learn the course. And then after that run is over, I mentally analyze what I did, try to figure out where I wasn't as fast as I should be, and try to compensate for that on the subsequent run.
After his final heat, Frank mulls over the day's results.
My son came in tops of the 3 of us. Justin, my grandson, was second, and I came in last. But I'm used to that finishing position against them. My best time today was about a 49.3 seconds. I was improving my time for the first 3 runs, and then on the last run I blew it.
Lawrence sees his father's results a little differently.
He, every once in a while, forgets he's 82. I mean, for an 82-year-old man just to be out here competing, let alone competing, coming in the top third or the top quarter of an event is pretty remarkable.
And though he didn't win a trophy at today's event, for Frank, it's the love of the sport that makes it all worthwhile.
At the end of all this time, I still feel good. I could go do it again.
Joining us in the studio, we are so pleased to have Frank Strayhorn, our 82-year-old autocross racer, who was featured in the piece you just saw. Also joining us is John Rush, the regional executive of the Sports Car Club of America's Philadelphia chapter, and also the chief of instructors for the autocross events. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here. You are fabulous. 82 years old. That's incredible. I was telling my mom about the segment, and she said, I have to ask you, is it safe out there for you?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing can go wrong. You can embarrass yourself, but it's a very safe sport.
What do you love so much about it?
It's the possibility of driving a car flat out to its limit legally.
On a course.
Okay.
John, tell us, what is it that's different about autocross that's different as opposed to other types of racing or just driving your own car?
First thing that's different is there's no risk of having two cars come in contact. It's one car at a time on the course.
Okay.
The other difference is really the intensity. Autocross is a very intensely packed together sport where corners are coming up very quickly and you have to it's incredibly mental challenge to stay ahead of what the car is doing.
So clearly, John, Frank thinks this is pretty safe. What are your thoughts about that?
Safety is our top priority. We wouldn't be allowed to do this if we didn't have safety as a top priority. Every event is watched over by trained safety stewards, and we absolutely don't want any sort of incidents happening.
You know, Frank, there are always issues with mature adults. They always say, you know, maybe they should take the license away and things of that nature. Do you think it has actually helped you to improve your driving skills as you've progressed in the sport?
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm much more capable of handling a car in the wet or in snowy, icy weather than I was before I started autocrossing.
So I didn't see any of your older, mature friends out there. Are there many mature adults that are actually in the sport?
Well, not very many of my age.
That's right. How long have you been doing it?
None that I have met, anyway.
Is that right? How long have you been doing it?
About 18 years now.
About 18 years.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about mature adults coming out? Is it something you can learn later in life?
Autocrossing is definitely a mental game, and so anyone who has the ability to think ahead can autocross. It's not age restricted at all. Obviously, with youth, there's some reaction ability, but the mental game of autocross is something that you learn over time and with practice. So there's really no age restriction on the sport at all.
So it kind of scares me a little bit to think the first time you get into the car and you do it. Are there simulated cars that you can actually do the race on?
We have a very strong instruction program. We will put an experienced autocrosser in the car with you. We'll have them drive your car and show you what the car can do. We have classroom sessions that are available to teach you the basics. But it is really a participation sport. Mm-hmm. You get out there, you do many of the same things you do on the street and in a parking lot. You just do them at a faster pace.
Frank, I know that it must be such a pleasure to be able to go out there with your son and your grandson. Tell me how that feels for you.
Well, it's a wonderful feeling. I don't think there's anything that could be any better than to share that kind of competition with your kid and grandkid.
And what respect they have for you out there.
Well, apparently they do.
Tremendous amount of respect. What does the rest of the family think about what you guys are doing? And why aren't there any women out there doing it with you?
Well, there aren't any women in the family yet that doing it. I have a great-granddaughter that's 4 months old, and maybe in 16, 17 years, she might be doing it.
So tell me, Frank, is there any advice that you would give senior adults that want to get out there and strap on a helmet right now and make it happen?
Well, I think they ought to make sure that they're up to it before they decide to indulge. But I see no problem. Anyone who is sharp enough, has good hand-eye coordination, can get out there and autocross.
It's interesting you talk about hand-eye coordination and reaction time. Why do you think it's so great from a mental aspect?
Just because things are coming at you very, very quickly. You walk the course and that's your only practice on the course. Your first run is a competition run, and things are happening very, very quickly. So the mind has to be 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of where the car is, and that really keeps the mental aspect sharp. And if you can't keep your mind, if you get in the moment of where the car is currently, you're going to be slow for the future features of the course.
So, Frank, have there ever been any scary moments while you've been racing?
No, not really. John makes sure that the courses are laid out very safely. There really isn't any chance of hitting anything, so you can spin out and embarrass yourself and have the audience clap and
That's good.
have fun, but it's safe.
Well,
No problem.
I think you should put together a senior racing club, but this has been really great. Thank you
There you
both
go.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.